It was a quiet Tuesday morning when Dr. Nathan Collins, a gentle middle-aged dentist known for his warm smile and calm presence, unlocked the door to his small dental clinic nestled in the corner of a peaceful neighborhood. The sky was clear, the air was crisp, and birds chirped cheerfully outside, giving no hint of the darkness that was about to unfold. Dr. Collins loved his routine. He enjoyed helping people, relieving pain, and making his patients feel safe. He had worked in this clinic for nearly 20 years and thought he had seen everything from simple toothaches to severe gum disease. But on this particular day, something completely unexpected was going to walk through his door. Around 9:30 a.m., as he was arranging tools and preparing for his first appointment, the front door opened with a soft chime, and in walked a young woman who looked to be in her mid-20s. She wore a short, elegant pink dress and had long dark hair cascading over her shoulders. But what stood out more than her appearance was her expression. It was a mixture of fear, pain, and deep sadness. Her eyes were red, like she had cried recently, and she spoke in a quiet, trembling voice. "Please," she whispered. "I need help. My mouth, it hurts so badly." She didn't have an appointment, but Dr. Collins never turned away someone in need. He smiled kindly, motioned her to sit, and said, "Of course, we'll take care of you." She introduced herself as Sarah, though she hesitated slightly, as if even her name felt unsafe to say. She kept glancing toward the door, like she expected someone to come storming in. As Dr. Collins guided her to the chair and began asking questions, she gave short, vague answers. "I moved here recently," she said. "No family. No job yet." Her voice cracked as she spoke, and when he gently asked how long her mouth had been hurting, she simply replied, "A few weeks, maybe longer. I couldn't go anywhere until now." Dr. Collins carefully leaned her back in the chair, put on his gloves and mask, and asked her to open her mouth so he could take a look. But when she did, he froze. Her mouth was completely empty. Every single tooth was gone. Her gums were bruised, swollen, and bleeding in places. It didn't look like surgery, it looked like torture. He had seen people with missing teeth before, but never all at once, and not like this. It wasn't natural. "Sarah, what happened to you?" he asked gently, his voice full of concern. She quickly shook her head, eyes filling with tears. "I can't talk about it. Please just help me," she said again, gripping the armrests tightly. Dr. Collins nodded. He didn't want to scare her, but something was very wrong. He treated her wounds, gave her antibiotics, pain relief, and advised her to come back soon for further care. But his heart was heavy. After she left, paying in cash, and refusing to leave any contact details, he sat in silence. Everything about the visit nagged at him. Her fear, her injuries, her silence. It all pointed to something dark, something criminal. That night he couldn't sleep. He kept replaying her visit in his mind. Something told him she needed more than just dental help. The next morning, unable to shake the feeling that she was in danger, he closed the clinic for the day, wrote a note for his assistant, and drove toward the general area she had vaguely mentioned during her treatment. She had said something about an apartment near the West Industrial area, almost like it slipped out by accident. He drove around for hours, looking for anything familiar, and just when he was about to give up, he saw her. She was walking toward a black van, and a large man in a dark suit grabbed her arm and forced her inside. She didn't scream, just looked down, defeated. Dr. Collins' heart dropped. He started his car and followed from a distance, keeping just far enough not to be noticed. The van drove through winding roads until it stopped at a grimy building with boarded windows and barbed wire along the fence. It didn't look like a house. It looked like a place where bad things happened. He watched through his binoculars as the man dragged Sarah inside. At that point, Dr. Collins took down the license plate and called the police, explaining everything he had seen. They told him a unit would be dispatched soon. But while he waited, Something made him get out of his car and move closer. He slipped through a side gate and peeked through a cracked window. Inside, what he saw would haunt him forever. The place wasn't just some hideout, it was a prison. There were several women inside, all looking scared and broken. Some sat against the walls, others lay on dirty mattresses. Their clothes were torn, their bodies bruised. It was clear they had been abused in more ways than one. One girl had bandages on her head. Another was rocking back and forth with blank eyes. There were cameras set up in the corners, tools on metal trays that no dentist would ever use. Dr. Collins felt sick. This was no ordinary crime. This was a trafficking operation, an underground ring where women were kidnapped, hurt, and filmed for money. And Sarah was one of their victims. Just then, police sirens filled the air, and officers burst into the building with guns drawn. The men inside tried to escape, but they were quickly arrested. Sarah and the other women were rescued. They were scared, weak, but finally safe. Dr. Collins stayed on the scene, helping identify Sarah and sharing everything he had witnessed. He showed the pictures he had taken and gave his statement. The police were shocked and thanked him for his courage. The warehouse was filled with evidence of crimes so horrible it made seasoned detectives turn pale. Sarah was taken to a hospital and later placed in a safe shelter. When she saw Dr. Collins again, she burst into tears. "You followed me?" she asked, voice shaking. He nodded. "I had to. Something told me you were in danger." Over time, Sarah shared more. She had been kidnapped nearly 6 months ago by a gang that lured young women with fake job offers. Once trapped, the women were held captive, forced to act in disturbing videos, and punished if they resisted. Her teeth, were pulled out after she tried to fight back. They wanted to humiliate her, break her spirit. She had only been allowed to leave once, under heavy watch, to see a doctor. And that's when she ran into Dr. Collins. She had begged for help but hadn't dared say much, fearing the men were watching. She had taken a huge risk just going to the clinic. But it was a risk that saved not only her life, but the lives of many others. The case became one of the biggest human trafficking investigations in the region. The men running the operation were charged with kidnapping, assault, sexual abuse, and dozens of other crimes. They would never hurt anyone again. Sarah, despite all she had been through, showed incredible strength. She worked hard to recover, physically and emotionally. Dr. Collins offered to rebuild her teeth at no cost. She smiled tearfully and said, "You already gave me more than anyone ever has." As the weeks passed, Sarah began visiting his clinic regularly. She started talking more, smiling more, and slowly began reclaiming her life. She even began to help others, sharing her story with support groups and helping the police connect with other survivors. Her bravery inspired everyone. Dr. Collins, though praised as a hero in the media, remained humble. "I just listened to my gut," he would say. But the truth was, not many people would have done what he did. Not many would have cared enough to follow a stranger, put themselves at risk, and fight for someone they barely knew. Sarah and the other women got justice, but more importantly, they got their lives back. The city set up a new task force to stop human trafficking, with Sarah becoming an advisor to help identify red flags and support victims. She was determined to turn her pain into power, and she did. Years later, Dr. Collins kept a photo on his desk, a simple picture of Sarah smiling wide with her new teeth, standing in front of a school where she had just given a speech to raise awareness about trafficking. That photo reminded him every day that one act of kindness could change the world. He kept working, helping patients, teaching young dentists not just how to treat teeth, but how to see people, really see them. Because sometimes, behind a sore tooth or a quiet voice, there's a story waiting to be heard. And sometimes, saving a life starts with simply paying attention. Sarah's story became a symbol of hope, a reminder that no matter how deep the pain, healing is possible, and that even in the darkest moments, there are people who care. She had come to the clinic broken, without teeth, without hope, but she left with strength, with purpose, and with a new beginning. And none of it would have happened if one dentist hadn't dared to ask, "Are you okay?" and meant it.